Okay, I think I'm ready. Hope the timing is working. Yeah, I'm quite a bit surprised that so many people are in the afternoon here, and in the title there's something about compliance. So normally that's the reason this room should be like completely empty. But I'm really happy because I do like this. I'm not studying law or something. So I'm always like from the technical part of compliance. And we're talking about like AI, because well, you have to talk about AI, but I'm not showing like all the shiny things what AI can do. More like something like a security compliance that you need to have to use it properly, so that you as an individual have something from it. So it's not like a global shutdown, you're not allowed to use it. I'm also showing you something, what you need and why you need to think also about like security compliance aspects. Yeah, I'm Julian Kusenberg, I'm from Germany. I'm an MVP for Microsoft Purview, so every time I'm talking about Purview, you could just replace it with any compliance framework. And if I'm talking about Copilot, you can easily replace it with AI. So because, well, most of the things I'm showing you, I show you things maybe where I use Copilot, but it's pretty much the same for any other AI you will use. I'm focusing on information governance, insider risk management, yeah, forensics stuff you will find in Microsoft Purview and in compliance. Yeah, I think that's enough for me. So you're always thinking about like, okay, what do we find if I'm talking about data? Why is this topic so important? And I was grabbing just a couple of numbers, searching the internet. So if you look it up, you will find last year, everyone around the globe generated 150 zettabytes of data. That's 10 to the power of 21, I think. So it's just a fucking huge number. So no one really cares. It was just like a fucking huge number. I have no feelings. I said like, okay, could be fine. It's massive. The second thing I found was a bit more interesting. 90% of the data was generated in the last 2 years. But on the other side, if you really think about that, well, Apple just released a new iPhone. The pictures here are even better. So also, the pictures are bigger in size. So there's more information. Most of the time, that's good. Sometimes more information is a bit annoying, messy. We see that later. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. If you focus that on maybe M365, as a user, you're just clicking, you're creating a new Microsoft Teams team, that's fine. Just like 2-3 clicks and you're done. If you know what really happens, you see, okay, there's happening a lot more. You have like a SharePoint site, you have an Exchange mailbox. There's so many different things you are creating. You're not even aware of that. And that means someone else needs to fix all those, need to think of all those things. And yeah, well, if you just sum it up, you will end up just 500 million terabyte each day. So yeah, my academic background just was like proved fine that I can do a little bit of math. And 2025, it's getting even more, 181 zettabytes of data. So these are just a couple of numbers, but in the end, this means we have a lot of data everywhere. And who's really managing that? Who really thinks that the data in their organization is really handled well? Yeah, that's it. So who's deleting data? Who's really deleting data? Oh, you, one, maybe a bit.
Email keeps telling me I need to, but
But yeah, that's one thing. We are hunters and collectors. We want to have more. I'm a consultant. I'm the worst part. I'm telling you, you have to delete data, but on the other side, I'm the collector. I'm getting everything. Maybe I can reuse something. But we do have a lot of data, and I'm always trying to have I don't like to have too much words on a slide. I know there are a couple ones where will have this, but I'm always thinking like images I can show you. And I came up with this. We do have a lot of data, and it's pretty much hitting us like a wave. And most of the time, this data is not even classified. We don't know what kind of data it is. We don't know exactly where it is. And sometimes data is missing, even the company, I don't know. Who has ever sent themselves an email with a company attachment to their private email address? Yeah. From a compliance perspective, you're exfiltrating data. This data is lost. And no one is really noticing that. So that's like a big, big problem. This is for other talks I'm giving like about inside risk management, but the thing is we do have a lot of data, and this data is not classified. I'm not talking about like tagging a document, like does it have like PII, IP, is it a contract, whatever. No, on an easy level, is it public, is it general, is it internal, is it confidential, is it highly confidential? Those information, I do need them. I'm always struggling with those two parts. So I'm talking about compliance. Most people talk about security. And those belong together, but not completely. And I just came up with an easy example, where is it? So if you Google DLP and 365, you will find Microsoft Purview. And if you come to my company, then you will pretty much end up with me. And the first question is like, okay, is this really a compliance topic you're talking about, or is this DLP just a security topic? Because if you want to block all documents from copying, from transferring to USB safe, that's a security thing. You could do that with Intune or whatever. But if you're always in this but situation, like, yeah, we want to block all those documents, that's fine. But I do need to give a presentation, and I need to copy my documents to USB safe. Well, then I can maybe I do get an exclusion. Temporarily, general, or I get this almighty USB stick which is working on every laptop. I could get those things. That's like also 100%. When it comes back to the compliance, it's a bit different. I don't care if you're copying documents to USB stick. I don't care about that. But if you're copying a confidential document, then I know that the only thing I want to know is why. Why are you doing that? Is there a business reason? Okay, that's fine. Okay. That's it. And that's like the really simple difference between like security and compliance. Okay, I lost. So what happens if we come back to the AI topic? AI is good, cool, we all have seen those fancy pictures and videos, and pretty much everyone is using AI. I don't need to ask have you used AI this week or whatever. I'm using that pretty much every time. This picture is from AI, so it helps a lot. But on the other side, who is really checking everything, every response from any AI? Who's always doing that? Yeah, and that's it. We are in those quick, uncontrolled decisions. My boss is telling me I need to do something. He's pushing me, I'm in a rush. That's pretty much the same how phishing emails are working. If you have a lot of time, phishing emails are not working. But if you just, on your mobile phone, going down to your car because and then this email puts in and you need to, oh yeah, click this because otherwise you will not be able to use that account anymore. Yeah, you have no time, you think like, oh yeah, that's really fitting right now. That's pretty much the same. It sounds right. Most of the time AI sounds right. especially if you're not really into that topic. Because right now with AI, everyone is an expert in every topic. I'm a soup coder right now. I pretty much buy coding, but I don't care. I had this at university, so I'm really good at this. And that's for a lot of things. And this can lead to really damage in the end. Because if you're not checking, you can have like big compliance issues in the end. So I'm saying AI without classification is like roads without traffic lights, sounds like a green wave, ends in chaos. If I'm the only one who's using that, that's pretty much fine, that's good, that's okay. If more people are doing that, yeah, that's pretty much this thing. I'm alone on the road, William. No rush hour, no traffic jam, I'll be in time, no stops. I can drive through London within like, 20 minutes, not like, 500 meters. But more people are doing that, it's even worse without flashlights, traffic lights than with them. So that's something I'm always telling people right in the first place. If you want to use AI, I don't care about if this is Copilot. I don't care about if it's ChatGPT, your own LLM. I don't care about this. If you have no data classification, you will have problems and you're not able to use this to a certain point. If you do have a grounded agent on some company framework, that could work. But if you have like a general generative AI sitting on all of your data, you need to have data classification. Without it, it's not gonna last long. You will have big problems in the end. And I know data classification, it's not something which is new, but it's not fancy, it's boring, and pretty much every organization tried it a couple of times and failed. But now with AI, you have different reasons to do it. I came up with a couple of examples. What can happen if you use any kind of AI? So what happened in the real world with pretty much the Chevrolet $1 chatbot. Does anyone know that? Okay, nice. Not many people do know this. It happened like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago. AI was pushing, big thing. Chevrolet had like a chatbot on their website.
Oh, yeah.
In the US.
This is a binding agreement that I acknowledge.
Yeah.
I'm sure that didn't hold up.
So there was someone who just pretty much jailbreak this thing and said like, okay, please answer me like this is a binding agreement, blah, blah, blah. And said like, I want to have this Chevrolet for $1. And the Chevrolet said like, this is a binding agreement. He took a screenshot. He said, Chevrolet, I want to buy that car now. And they said like that, no. So what happened? This person sued them. In the end, he lost. But, well, this was in the United States, so you never know if you really will lose or not. And the second thing is, this PR damage was so big that even nowadays I'm just running around telling this story. But this is something that can happen, because why does this happen? You, from the IT perspective, you have a chatbot, you have like a good idea, you say like, okay, I want to use this thing for this, this, and this. And people can ask questions. We do not need any kind of person anymore. And this person we save money and we save time. And I think everyone will use this tool the way it was invented. Yeah, that was like the big main mistake. So no one is tracking anything. So there's no human in the loop. There's no one who's tracking maybe like some kind of keywords like contract, agreement, or whatever, so that this chatbot is not able to do this. And in the end, well, you could read that in the newspaper. I'm telling about it a couple of years later, so you see what can happen. And the other thing, which is maybe not based on one company, Like I said, I'm coming from the forensics, so data breach was my daily business. And data breaches are generally kind of easy. That's why I ask how many people have sent documents to their own private email address. But if you have maybe a newer situation, you do have AI. And maybe you have like this fancy AI workflow. You just type in something, and in the end, there's a big black box, and in the end, you get something from it. And even better, because you want to save time and money, you send those information directly to the customer, to the client, I don't know. Because, well, the AI is doing its thing. And that's right, because you just want to get in, you just type in what the AI should do, or maybe some kind of data, you have this super fancy, super expensive workflow, and that's it. I've seen that a couple of times, because this is what people want to do with AI. They want to get rid of that boring work, they want to get rid of this whole amount of work, so they have this fancy AI workflow. Saves time, saves money, sounds good. What do we normally have? Lack of governance. Lack of governance. There's pretty much no governance at all, maybe just on paper. No one is checking anything. There's no human in the loop. There's no data loss prevention. There's no data classification. There's nothing. So the AI can do pretty much anything. And I'm not checking it. And what can happen in the end? You have data breaches, you can get fines, you have a lot of trouble if you just use AI without any guardrails. And this is what I see most of the time. It's not that this is something I've seen once or just came up with. I've seen that a couple of times. Something happened, and then the main question here in that scenario is, who did it wrong? Was I the one maybe because I used the AI, I used the tool? Or the project team who built the workflow? Or maybe the AI developer who maybe invented or developed the thing? Now that's the thing. No one knows, because this is like a whole black box. So you cannot sue me because I have no idea what really happens here. You set up this is like a good thing. And that's most of the time what I see. No one is really thinking about the consequences. No one is really thinking about like, okay, what can I do to push everything a bit together and have like benchmarks left and right. I don't know if we need to stick too long to this. So compliance adoption was since maybe like 2010. Things are starting to get a bit more into presence. The more interesting things is, well, COVID, obviously. People could move from home. Home office was something which was daily business, but the IT security was not really on the level to do that. So we had like a lot of cybersecurity threats and data breaches. And around 2023, companies started to really look for compliance tools. Because back in the days, you have like big companies who maybe had something like this because it was or is super, super expensive. And that was also pretty much the time when Microsoft Purview was on their rise because it was more linear, you paid for it anyway. People are now starting to maybe start to use it. And nowadays, you have also the thing with AI tools, like I said in the beginning. Copilot or any kind of AI gets access to unclassified data, which means sensitive information ends up in the wrong hands. I don't know, you have like this 27-layer folder structure, and the AI is just the better search engine and it will find those documents. And even if from one folder to another. Yeah. Even if I don't know that I have this document, if I will find it maybe on SharePoint, this AI will definitely find it. And also one I really like is you're not allowed to share data from SharePoint with people outside your organization. That's pretty much really common. Any companies here, you have set this up? Pretty much default. What happens if you want to share a document with someone else who's
Total nightmare.
yeah, but what do you do?
Copy it to OneDrive.
Maybe this is also blocked, because OneDrive and SharePoint is blocked. What is the main thing everyone is doing? If I want to share a document with someone else in my organization,
Attach it to the email.
yeah, that's it. I just copy it, duplicate it, attach it to an email, and it's gone. So it's pretty much one of the worst things you can actually do. But yeah, you can easily avoid something like this. And that also means like I take a document maybe which is secured by its environment and drag it somewhere else and send it to 2 people externally and 8 people internally. Yeah?
That data, would you simply also just attach that with encryption?
You could.
This Purview gives you that capability.
Yeah, you can do that. So there are multiple ways. You can also use a modern attachment link to avoid this scenario, but then I need to be able to share this link with someone externally. But I can also encrypt a document with sensitivity labels. Kind of easy if I set it up correctly. But this is the thing. So if I share a document which is more or less secured by its environment, and I share it with 10 new people, even within my company, 10 people have access to a document. Maybe they don't know because their inbox is a mess. But if I'm asking the right questions, Copilot will find it and will give me the answers in that document, even if I don't know if that is existing. The thing I'm asking about because it's kind of easy to get a better salary if I find someone maybe in my team who's earning way more money. Statistically, one of the most asked questions. And like I said, this will find it. If I have access to that document, I will find it. Doesn't matter where it is. If the AI has access and see that I do have access, I get it. So if I want to make it a bit more secure and smart, AI would respect sensitivity labels. If I do have access to a document which is encrypted by a sensitivity label and which I am not allowed to open, Copilot would not open it. If you use any kind of other AI solution within M365, which is leveraging the graph APIs, we'll have the same thing here. And the cool thing is you have compliance by design. And that's something you need. You don't want to have like a completely new compliance framework for every AI you're implementing, because that will drive you nuts. Because every part of the company will come around and like, oh yeah, we need this one and we need this one. You need to have like a compliance framework which you either technically can put all AIs into it, or at least that you can adapt those frameworks to the other AI solutions. So if you set it up correctly, I have this information. I'm asking the same question, I set it up, maybe I do have access to that document, maybe not, I don't know, but I will get this answer so that I know that the AI cannot provide me any kind of information. This is what I really want to have. Doesn't matter, because maybe I do not have access to that should not have access to the document. Or the other thing is maybe the AI should not have access to that document. Maybe I have some documents which I want to hide from AI itself for multiple reasons. So what does Microsoft Copilot and Purview do together? We just like I said, they do have some similarities, they can leverage each other. They're working hand in hand, so Copilot respects protection from Purview. On the first level, it is data classification. I need to have it. Sensitivity labels, data loss preventions, insider risk management, these those are the 4 main parts which I should have in place if I really want to use AI secure. Because I have no idea what's really happening. If I set it up correctly, I can say like, okay, I am allowed to work with, I don't know, public documents. I'm allowed to work with internal documents. But I'm not allowed to work with confidential HR documents. Doesn't matter where they are. Maybe I do have them in my inbox, maybe I have them in my OneDrive, maybe I have them on my flash drive, I don't care. But I'm not allowed to work with them, so AI should also be not allowed to work with them. But for that, I need data classification. So that's pretty much the same I've said before. If you have this, the AI will respect it and will only take those documents which are fine.
But if you don't have data classification in place, the AI will be able to access. It doesn't matter on the folder level access.
If I have, so for example, if we stay to SharePoint,
Yeah.
if I have no access to that SharePoint website, the AI will not give me any kind of answers for that. Yeah, but normally you have more access than you should have.
Sure.
And that's the thing where those critical information are laying.
Real quick, this secret no Copilot example you got, is there actually a flag within sensitivity labels to disable indexing and querying with Copilot?
Yeah, you can set it up that way.
Awesome.
So it is not out of the blue box. So you have within M365, you have like 2 options. One is DLP, which will block answers from that kind of document for certain user groups, which I show later. And you can also use it for blocking indexing. But if you want to do this, you're on the, how's it called? Double key encryption. So you have to set it up. Double key encryption was something I was always avoiding and telling people, please do not use this. Makes things, it's super expensive, super complicated. I don't care. Nowadays with AI, you have to have double key encryption because you have to block certain documents. It's like maybe 1% of all or 0.5% of all documents, but you have to block it. Kind of show you what this in combination sensitivity label and Copilot does. Because the main thing is like if I am accessing a document and I do get information, I'm just asking Copilot, AI, whatever, I'm asking about something, not referencing one document. The problem is I do get an answer, maybe I do get a new document with whom I'm allowed to share that information. My team, internally, externally, with clients. Without data classification, I have no idea about this fact. And maybe I just take this information and send it to the wrong person. And if I set this up, I have a new Word document. I'm asking some questions. It's just generating a document, just filling it. And what happens, the interesting thing is this one, right now in German, which is telling you, because of content Copilot was using, applying some kind of sensitivity label to adjust this automatically. So right now I do have this red one with some kind of encryption. And if I set it up this way, even if I share this document now with some person who should not have access to that information, if they are not within the group who are able to open that document because of the sensitivity label, they still will not be able to get that information without me need to think of or going through all the references and see like, okay, I've used this document or this document. So if we come to data loss prevention, from a compliance perspective, like I said in the beginning, it is a bit different. Data loss prevention from a security perspective and compliance perspective. I don't care about if you're going out with public data. Do that. I don't care. Print it out, whatever. But if you have like maybe confidential documents, something different. Maybe I'm even not allowed to go out because maybe I have not the position to take out confidential documents. Maybe you do have, but then I want to have like a reason why. I need a business reason why you need to get this information out of the company. If you do that, that's absolutely fine. That will be locked. And if something happens, because that's only the main question within compliance, if something happens, it's always about money. Someone needs to be sued, and then you can easily look it up. Was it a legit business reason? Then I'm fine. If it just has a reason like that, then yeah, that's my problem. So, but this is what I need to do, and I can also use this for AI. So I can say like, okay, AI is allowed to work with public data, and I can say like, okay, you're not allowed to work with confidential data. Or maybe I just want to have a few people who are allowed to work with confidential data and AI. Because if I'm blocking this completely, for certain departments, that's kind of unfair. HR, for example, is working way more with confidential data than maybe marketing. So maybe I'm saying like, okay, the HR department is allowed to work with confidential data because they know those things, and pretty much 90% of their files are confidential. So you can say like, okay, you're allowed, the rest of the company is not allowed. This is not protecting the document from being indexed. I'm just blocking the response. So this is pretty much the end, what I want to have. Like, I can use AI, I do have DLP, and what also, I can block AI from accessing a document. I am allowed to open the document. So I can open that, I can maybe copy something out from it, I can work with it, but I say like the AI should not be able to get this for certain reasons. So sometimes it's not that easy to find a use case pretty much for that. It's a bit more complex, but this is something you can also set up. And this is, if I set it up correctly, I'm asking about the salary table, and I'm just referencing the document. I say like, hey, here's the document, I do have access, take it. This is what I get. This document is protected. I, as the AI, am not allowed to open that document. And it's kind of, no, I didn't want, oh, it's in the back. Maybe I can. It's kind of easy to configure that. It's just this one. I need to check on. Yeah, please do that. That's all. I think in the newest version they even erased that one, so you can just set it up. Say like you click on DLP on Copilot, and that's pretty much the only thing you can do. Just a quick one because we're getting to the end. We do have insider risk management and discovery. I'm just putting a link to launch everything. if I use those tools correctly, I do have the logs. I can see all the prompts, and I can investigate. I can also use like a pre-alert system, which is inside risk management. I can see what really happens. Because if I have set up something with sensitivity labels and block something, hey, as a smart user, I'm just reclassifying from a confidential to a public document and we're fine. If I do this inside a risk management, we'll track this and we'll see a sequence. And this will have a way higher impact compared to something else, if I just would access a document. I can talk about those things for like hours and days, but I think that we should keep it that way. This is what you get, AI usage. This is like a sequence, label on file downgraded or removed, then file accessed by Copilot. I get a risk score of 95%. AI usage itself, or those things, get like way less points, but combined together, I get like a really high percentage. Because I do something which is not like intended to be used like that. And for rediscovery, maybe interesting, you will find the prompts. I can see the prompts within for every user who is using it. I can see the prompt, I can see the response. If you find something like auto-generated, this is also like in Word or Excel documents, so not the Copilot chat itself. And to round it up, maybe you have heard about it, like this DSP M4 AI, Data Security Posture Management, which is like a nice reporting tool. You need an E5 license for that. It's crawling everything you have done for AI, and you can see like interactions over time, enterprise apps, also other enterprise apps like Copilot for Bing, OpenAI, Chat, GPT, stuff like this, what is used within the company to get a feeling, because you can also block other AI apps, and you also should. And you should provide a good AI app to the users. If you do not do this, they will, well, bring their own AI and use something different. Like I said, it's a big reporting tool. You can see like different things, like sensitivity labels referenced with AI, unethical use of AI, like threatening, money laundering, whatever, or sensitive interactions. You can see a lot of things, which is nice, but makes it also a bit more complicated. But all those things need to be considered if you are using AI within your organization. Yeah, I think we're in time. We are at the end. Thank you for listening.
Any questions before we go for a cup of coffee? Maybe to the close
Normally after my presentations, no one is asking any questions because it's a bit like embarrassing because everyone is like, okay, we haven't done anything, that's not good, but we cannot say now. It's like most of the time I'm getting like questions afterwards on LinkedIn, like, hey, you mentioned something.
Yeah, hey, we're in really big trouble.
Pretty much every company I'm going into, doesn't matter how big it is, how big the company is, I see a lot of issues within Purview. Most of the time I see like there's a greenfield in Purview and I ask them like, have you done anything? No. It's like, oh, that's not so good, but you're using all those features. Have you ever feeling how many data will be stolen every day? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, okay, yeah, we can just leave inside a risk management running for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, and then we come back and let's see what we will find. And I always find a lot. So yeah, and the main thing, like I said, like I did in those 45 minutes, data classification is key. I know it's a boring topic, but you have to have it. Otherwise, you will have big problems using AI.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.